Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday, and we're going to be going over the balancing sports and school today. I'm with my typical co host, Lillian, and then we have,
Meredith and Mary.
yes, me and Lillian are going to be asking Meredith and Mary some questions about kind of the sports they do and how they're going to balance that with their schoolwork, and then general questions like that. I'm going to start off with a pretty easy question for these guys to answer, and that is, what sports do you play and how long have you been involved with them?
I'm Meredith and I play soccer, basketball, and I have been in soccer for around 3 or 4 years, and then basketball for like 2 or 3.
Okay.
And I'm Mary, and I have been doing soccer and basketball and volleyball. Volleyball for 1 season and soccer for 2 seasons and um, basketball for 2 years.
Okay. Wow, guys. What do you enjoy about playing multiple sports? Yes.
We are able to like try different things, make new friends along the way, and like learn different concepts about the game. Just have fun, learn new things, and make new friends.
Yeah, it sounds like with this kind of extracurricular, you guys can kind of get out and stay connected with your social life and things like that.
Yeah, and you're learning a lot too, like you said, learning all the different sports too and how they connect with one another. So when you think about your different practices, and they're in different seasons, right? Different times, and then think of, because you're still in school too. So how do you, when you think about all those different tasks to balance, how do you begin your day? When you think of a typical school day, when you have your homework to do, and then your sports, how do you start your day? How do you like to plan and kind of know how the day's going to look like?
So I start to think, do I have any tests that day
Mm.
to see like, do I need like study, or am I just like good to do my homework and stuff? And then like I do sports through my school system, and so like normally my practice would be like after school. So sometimes it would go to like 5:30, 6, even sometimes. So sometimes you would have to be like extra focused in school. You would have to be making sure all your work gets done so you don't have extra homework to do. And then once your sports are done, I might be heading home or maybe going to a different like travel sport, and I do my homework in the car rides, sometimes like while eating dinner, or even sometimes in the next morning while eating breakfast.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, good. Okay.
All right. What do you guys think the hardest part of balancing your schoolwork and then having to go to practice or a game?
The hardest part is probably the like homework where they
Mhm.
just add extra ones, and especially like the work that doesn't get done in class. So like if you don't stay on top of your schoolwork, it starts to fall behind.
Yeah.
And like I said last time, you might have to start bringing it to homework. And when you have extra homework, it's sometimes hard to like get ready on the bus, maybe going to a away game, or just like start warming up in the basketball game.
Mm.
Maybe just like not being able to think straight, like, am I going to be able to get this done in time? Because like some of those games might end like way later in the day.
Yeah. I bet that's kind of stressful sometimes too, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you know you have your practice or you have a game coming up, how do you prioritize your homework? How do you figure out what gets done first in your list of homework to do?
So I have math and ELA homework normally, except sometimes science, depending if there's an upcoming test. But I normally do the math first, like during the car rides or just like in between times, because I can like do problem at a time, because it's just like a little easier. But then for the reading passages, I really have to set time aside, because if I don't, then I will feel a little bit stressed thinking, do I have enough time to read this whole passage and answer the questions?
Yeah, totally.
It sounds like you do a really good job of taking opportunities when you have blocks of time in the car ride or whatever to make sure that gets done. It's
Yeah.
really good.
It's not an easy thing to do. A lot of people want some downtime. I know myself.
Yeah.
I like downtime, but yeah, you really do have a good organization going on.
Mhm.
Okay. So what helps you through when you feeling overwhelmed about, maybe an assignment that's due and you have a sports game beforehand? How do you deal with that kind of stress?
So sometimes I don't always play my hardest in the sports
Mhm.
seasons.
Yeah.
Of like that struggle and like stress, and sometimes I get in my head. So I just sometimes try to push myself past like the limit,
Mhm.
and sometimes I get like angry with myself that I didn't study or something.
Yeah.
But then I just have to like remember to keep going, and then like I work extra hard to get that homework done or to get that study time in after those practices.
No, totally.
And I just like
Alrighty.
All right. What would be your biggest distraction? Maybe like when you get home or when you're done with the game. What's the biggest thing that's like it's really hard for you to get back focused in?
either TV or food because
Me
like,
too.
you just like want to relax, like after maybe a practice or a game, just like put your feet up, watch TV,
Mm-hmm.
or like read a book or something like that. And then sometimes you just like want to be yourself kind of and not like be that player on the field.
Yep.
And then also food because like sometimes you're like so hungry and you
Right.
just
For
like
sure.
need a snack because your body's just not used to it. So like
Mhm.
sometimes I just have to remind myself, okay, you can have a snack if you start doing your work.
Yeah. That's honestly really mature thinking.
Yes.
I know my age, I had a really hard time with that.
Yeah.
I would kind of just indulge in being lazy, which sounds like
Mm.
you do a good job at not doing that.
Yeah. And it's important because you won't be able to do your homework well or your next practice or game well if you don't have the right nutrients and you haven't been drinking water and eating good food to
Mhm.
be able to prepare for that.
Absolutely. What kind of skills have you learned from balancing your sports and your schoolwork?
Organization, sometimes friendship because you have to like coordinate like rides with some other people sometimes.
Yeah.
I've also learned about how to balance like your schoolwork because like if you don't balance that, you just like fall off kind of
Yeah.
of the right path, and it's very easy to like not like you don't stay on track, and
Right.
then your like goals kind of not met.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you ever have to skip a social event or something with friends because you needed to get homework done or you had a practice and you had to make sure how do you balance your priorities when, but I really want to hang out with my friends? How do you balance that?
So I don't think my practices ever like align with like homework because I just have to get that done because my mom wouldn't let me skip practice for homework because she just makes me like do it. But anytime like maybe sometimes I have to stay up, but I have to like skip social events where like maybe since we live in North Carolina, Merle Fest is a big thing. So sometimes you like have to wait a little until you can go to Merle Fest to like get your sports events done. So like sometimes you have to have patience as well.
Yeah. That's a huge skill to learn and to be practicing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think playing these multiple sports is worth the extra time and effort? Why or why not? Just like a personal question.
Yes, because it can like teach you about creativity sometimes.
For
And
sure.
like what sports you play, it teaches you friendship. And then it also teaches you a balance. Sometimes it doesn't just teach you a balance in schoolwork and sports, although it also teaches you how to like manage your time. And that's a good life skill to have, especially when like going into like having a family kind of.
Yeah, like adulthood, you're already working on skills that a lot of adults are still working on, and so it's a great opportunity you're doing for yourself.
Why don't you tell them about Myrtle Fest?
Merle Fest, also in case any of you are wondering, it's like a bluegrass concert kind of held over a course of like 3 or 4 days in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. And it's a fun event where you can go like listen to music. It's a family friendly activity, and there's a lot of fun shopping and heritage there.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
I didn't know that was a thing. All right. So thinking on your homework and your sports, how does your attitude about those things determine your success in either grades or in success in sports and playing with your team? How does your attitude kind of play into that?
So sometimes you just have like that mental breakdown
Mm.
where you like have an upcoming test or maybe like a very like important game where you like have to like get it right. And sometimes I just like need a mental breakdown where I can just like express my feelings to myself and just like know I'm like loved and just like help me focus and on the one task at hand normally.
Mm.
So like I can like put aside maybe my sports and like not practice outside that day and I could like do that study extra hard for that test
Mm.
or maybe finish my homework early that day and go practice kicking a ball around
Right.
outside, things
Yeah.
like that.
And that sounds like you're really working on that prioritizing and just taking one thing at a time. Even though there can be a lot of things, it's like, okay, what do I need to do right now?
Mhm.
It sounds like you've got a pretty good handle on that.
Yeah, and like breaking down like how you need to like task your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For
sure.
sure. Absolutely.
It kind of goes along with Lillian's other question. How much downtime are your like during your sports season? How much downtime do you find yourself left with?
So like this past school year, I did one extra travel sport,
Okay.
an extra basketball travel team, and sometimes I felt myself going from like a soccer practice straight to like a travel basketball
Yeah.
like practice, and I just didn't have a lot of downtime, maybe like 30 minutes right before bed,
Mhm.
but that was like taking up shower time, taking up dinner time. So sometimes I was just like be lying in bed. Sometimes I would like have to read a book to myself
Mhm.
to like make myself fall asleep because I'm worried about all those other tasks.
Yeah, for sure. You got any more questions?
Yes. This is just kind of a personal question as well. What are your goals? Like, why do you want to do your homework? Why do you want to do your sports? What are your personal goals?
I want to have not just I would like to go to college for soccer, but not just that. I would also like to be known for like not just being accepted for college from soccer, but also having good academics.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you don't always know what's after. Like sometimes if you are playing pro, which may not always happen, maybe if you have an injury, what happens after that? You just like need to have a good future and like a good plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very smart. Very wise.
Yourself maybe compromising a sport or maybe homework or vice versa because you have a game coming up and you can't do as well on this test or maybe not even a test, just like homework. When you have homework that's due that day or you also know you have a game that day and you don't find yourself with a lot of time, but you still got to get your homework done, right? Is there any time where you have to just rush through your homework and maybe not do as good? Or sometimes with sports, maybe not play as good because you have homework to do?
Yeah, so sometimes when I'm like playing a game and I'm a little stressed, sometimes I let maybe like a test that day and I don't know what my score was. Sometimes I just like get the stress, let like it gets the best of me.
Yeah.
And you sometimes just have to like not like fight the stress, but sometimes you just have to realize it's all right whether I made that score or not. I'm still a good person. I've had good grades, and you just have to remember that score does not define you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very important not to let simple things like that become so big and tie it to your self-worth because at the end of the day, we're all worth something.
Yeah. Just one of my last questions was, how does food, the food you eat or the sleep you get, affect how you do your homework and how you play your sports?
Good question.
Okay, so sometimes I like get home from sports late, and I like maybe it might be 9:30 or like 10 from like a basketball game or something, and I am just like, oh my goodness, I'm dead. I just want to fall asleep. But like I have all those like sports and like test scores in my head, and it's sometimes hard to fall asleep. So I find myself not getting a lot of sleep sometimes, and then in the morning I don't always have like a lot of time in the evenings, so I sometimes do my homework in the mornings. And I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to fall asleep. So I start like drifting away from my homework.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's important if you don't get a good amount of sleep, it can affect your school
Mhm.
day, your sports, where you're like not hustling as much, or you are like slacking and your coach sees that, or even your teacher may see that. If you're not like getting good sleep, it can like affect your like mental ability
Yeah, for
to
sure.
like learn and like get new things in. And then also having a healthy diet, one doesn't just help with like your sports and like being able to go fast, maybe on the field, or like having a healthy diet. It also affects how your like schoolwork. Like if you're not having a healthy diet, sometimes it's easy to like if you have that sugar rush, then you're just like mid class in math, you're like, oh, when's class ending? Then you start falling asleep,
Mhm.
and then you get in trouble.
Yeah. So it would probably play a pretty big part
Mhm.
in your brain function and how you apply yourself in those different areas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Are you ever finding yourself not forgetting to eat, but having to like to move the times around to eat because of all the things you're doing?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I like have a practice at like 5, like my practice ends at 5:30, then like my other practice starts at like maybe 6:30. I have like an hour break about, so like I have to eat dinner sometimes in that time zone, and I'm used to eating at like 8:30 sometimes.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I'm like having to move like my like
Dinner time.
my dinner time around, and so I start like sometimes having stomach aches or like just that like groaning pain.
Mhm.
So sometimes you might have to eat snacks and then like eat dinner around a different time.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Any more questions on your end?
That's all I have.
Is there anything you guys want to add at all? Anything we haven't went over?
Just like make sure you are like having good diets, like we said, and eating healthy, going to bed at good times. And sometimes if you're not involved in a sport, sometimes you might want to get involved because it doesn't just help you like make friends and stuff. It also can teach you some valuable like lessons in
Mhm.
life
Mhm.
and valuable like things you might need to know in like the school day. Like teamwork is a good strategy where you like might have a project and you have to learn to compromise with other people. But also you sometimes need to like have that downtime. So it's important to also like personalize your own time.
Mhm.
Anything you want to add?
Always keep growing in education and sports.
Hey, awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for answering our questions today. I really enjoyed your responses and
Yeah.
learning more about how you guys handle this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I learned stuff too.
Yeah. All right. If that's it for you guys, we will be back later today going over Charles Stanley. But other than that, we'll have another podcast tomorrow, and that'll be it for this week. Thank you for listening.